It's time to cut up some horrible plywood. 4 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood are needed for the build, and before we begin, I want to make a couple recommendations. The first recommendation is about this Revolution plywood from Lowe's. I do not recommend you purchase this stuff unless you really like dealing with fuzzy edges and crazy tear out. At $90 a sheet, you would expect a little bit better of a product, but who knows with prices these days. Every time I've used it, I have battled warpage quite a bit. The second recommendation is for router bits. If you are in the market for quality router bits, then I do recommend checking out my friends at Bits and Bits. Quality router bits made in the USA and offered with competitive prices. Use the non-affiliate coupon code JBates to save 10% at checkout. I had all of the programming work done before starting the project, so step 1 is to start running the machine. Now, none of these parts require a CNC to cut, it's all just basic rectangles. However, I am lazier than a dog after supper, so I prefer to press a button and take a nap while the work is being done. After my nap, when the sheet was done, the tabs can be cut and the pieces removed. This is my homemade lever router lift that I made for a table saw wing. I'm biased, but I do recommend that you make one. I have mine set up for flush trimming operations, and that's typically how I leave it. This time I'm using a 1/2 inch spiral flush trim bit. It's a balance of productivity, trying to always keep the machine running while I'm working on something else. Also, one benefit of having a router table in the table saw wing is the extra real estate for material support. Sheet 2 cutting, sheet 2 tab cutting, sheet 2 tab removal, sheet 3 cutting, sheet 3 tab cutting, sheet 3 tab removal, and same for the 4th sheet that I did not record. Now for the so common, more difficult than it needed to be assembly. I should have done all of this on the floor, but I thought that the camera angles would be better if I assembled it on my assembly table. So starting with the back side, the face frame is placed on the table. Then glue is added and the back plywood piece is added and secured with screws. I'm building this on its back, so the next vertical pieces to add are the vertical partitions to separate the sink in the middle from the storage areas on each end. To locate the vertical pieces, I screwed the bottom panels to the back panel. This gives me a physical stop to work off of. The vertical pieces get a few pocket holes and then are secured to the back panel. The low angle pocket holes and the physical stop make installing these pieces simple. No clamps required, and the direction of the physical pocket hole shift is going into a secured object, so it really can't go anywhere. Then the bottom shelf pieces can be removed. I'm not filling these holes at all. I'm not worried about a few extra screw holes being on the inside of the cabinet. Doesn't bother me one bit. More pocket holes for the bottom panels, and they are secured to both the back panel and the vertical partitions. At this point, I realized I forgot to put pocket holes on the other side of the vertical partitions. So here's where the portable Kreg jig that clamps to the material really shines. No need to disassemble, just clamp it in place and save the day. Next, the front panels are added, and these are solid panels because the drawers will be on each end. So these are, like I said, solid, and trim will be added to frame it out later. Before adding the side face frames, glue is added to the plywood edges and then to the assembled rabbet. When the side face frame is added, it creates a really strong, full-length, long-grain glue joint. Clamps are needed to straighten out the warped plywood back panel. Some more clamps are used to keep the face frame and plywood pieces aligned, while brad nails are added wherever possible. The bottom panel is attached to the side face frame with more pocket screws. Rinse and repeat for the other end, but on this end I had to elevate, well actually not just this end, I had to elevate the entire assembly with a few riser blocks to be able to get clamps under this side. Here's where I really wished I assembled this on the floor. Glue is used and the front face frame is added. There's a lot of glue surface with this connection, so that's where the majority of the connective strength will come from. And of course, it's secured with brad nails as well. I set up the camera and first tried to lower the assembly to the floor like so, and then realized it was stupid. I'm basically moving 3 sheets of plywood plus the weight of the face frames back onto me as I back up, and I just realized that I don't want any broken bones today. So the smarter thing to do was to lower it from above onto its side. Then I can much more safely lower it to the floor, and I can tell this will be a multiple person job to get it to the actual location of the outdoor kitchen, but I opted to build it as one large assembly rather than 3 cabinets that bolt together for strength reasons, and also because I just like making things more difficult than it needs to be. You guessed it, more pocket holes. Every time I build these cabinets, I add these little strips behind the front face frame and in the back. They provide a lot of surface area to screw through to secure the countertop later. Here you can get an idea of how it will be used. The station on the left will have 2 drawers and storage below, and there's enough working surface on top to prep for, a few racks of ribs and such, and you can still reach the sink in the center from the side if needed. The station on the right has the same storage and workspace above and will be set up for finished food and entertaining prep. The front will have a centered sink and 2 doors below. Day 2 of shop time on this build is complete. We've been really dragging this build along. This is not a priority build at all because some electrical changes need to be addressed here and there before this is installed. Also, it's summertime and we're spending a lot more family time just enjoying the casual, slow-paced life, so no rush on getting this done. That's it for this video. Go to my website for detailed build articles that accompany these videos, and go to jayscustomcreations.com/newsletter to sign up for my email newsletter so you don't miss anything that I publish. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next one.